Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you all for working your way back into the ballroom and fueling up. It's great to see you all again this morning. Looking forward to another really interesting, engaging morning. I think we've got a great lineup, and I'm glad you're able to spend day two with us. And hope everybody had a great time last evening. It's just so great to spend time with all of you again. Just fabulous energy. Really appreciate it, and hope everybody had nice meals and some relaxing and just continue to reconnect. So I'm going to just kick it off here for a few minutes. One of the recurring themes from yesterday, and I think certainly, I think many of us recognize these really are extraordinarily busy times, right? I mean, I think the combination of ever proliferating issues, the post-pandemic work environment, all the different issues have really made prioritization, communication, and work planning more important than ever, right? And I know the people of the ISO, our customers, many of our stakeholders have been feeling pulled in lots of different directions. And frankly, it can be exhausting, right? I mean, there's a lot going on. So prioritization has become a really important theme for us at the ISO. And I think in an effort to try to clarify the ISO's most pressing and important strategic priorities, we took some time over the last year to develop a new, what's referred to as our 2022 through 2026 strategic plan. Some of you may have seen it. It's been on the streets for a few months, and hopefully some of you have had a chance to take a look at it. But I thought it'd be helpful maybe just to sort of take you through the key elements of the strategic plan, because I really think it's so important for us at the ISO to know what we're all about, know what we're focusing on, and to really clarify those priorities, both for staff and certainly for our customers and stakeholders. You know, I know many of you guys are very, very, very busy as well. So maybe we can we'll pull up that slide. Before I'll start, I'll say we decided. I've been around strategic planning for a long time. I'm a big believer that a great strategic plan is a plan that really sort of harnesses the collective genius of your employees and your colleagues and your stakeholders, and you really reach out and try to kind of really capture the best ideas you possibly can. We did a lot of outreach for the strategic plan. We obviously did a lot of internal work. We met with a lot of our staff, our board of governors, the EM governing body. We met with many of the utilities, folks in the IPP committee, regulatory bodies. We did a lot of outreach and a lot of focus testing, a lot of refining and harnessing and sharpening. And we also, we said, okay, well, maybe it's time. We didn't really feel like it was time to kind of fundamentally re-examine kind of the core mission of the ISO, because that role, just that focus on reliability and efficiency felt fairly enduring, but we did feel as though the vision could use a little bit of a refresh. And it was kind of fun to have this conversation with all the staff, and it's sort of everybody kind of wanted to aim high, right? It wasn't, we don't want to, this is California, this is the West, we've got big goals, we've got big ambitions, and at the end of the day, we came up, the vision statement was to actually operate the world's most reliable, cost-effective, and environmentally sustainable power system. And we said, nothing short of that should be the goal. Now, it might take us a while to get there, but let's aim high and let's go for it, right? And so we then really asked ourselves, what are the most essential key strategic issues that we really need to focus on for the CAISO? And so I actually have a copy of the strategic plan right here, and I'm just going to walk you through a couple of these elements. The very first thing, we did go right back to kind of the core heart and soul of our mission and our responsibilities, and that is around reliability. But we also recognize with so much change, so much new technology, so much turnover, and the need to be able to sort of stay ahead of the game, what we ultimately landed on was the notion of reliably and efficiently integrate new resources by proactively upgrading our operational capabilities, right? You just think about what's happened with energy storage. In 2 years, you go from 250 megawatts to 4,500 megawatts on your grid, right? And all of a sudden, your market design and your dispatch has to change. Well, What's it going to look like with 8-hour, with different chemistries, with new storage technologies? How do we anticipate that? The distributed side, there's so many things we have to anticipate. We also just wanted to make sure that our core foundational operational tools for our control center operators were as rock solid as possible, right? So we're doing a lot of work on that side, just make sure that the foundation, and so modernizing the tools that support control center operations. Of course, the ISO is built on a huge technology platform. So we also need to make sure that we ensure that our mission critical information technology platform is secure and scalable and resilient. Right? I think we all are aware of cybersecurity risks. As we extend from EIM into EDAM, that's a lot more data, a lot more information. We got to make sure that the processing power of the organization is solid, and that we have also ride-through capability if we run into disturbances, which are part of the game. And also, we're increasing. We operate the bulk grid, but I'm a big fan and big believer that the distributed side of the equation is also very important. And we want to be a good partner with the distribution system operators to be able to convey good information from the bulk grid as we work on V2G, as we work on the new policies coming out of the Energy Commission and the PUC around dynamic pricing, that we can convey good information about the grid so that those distributed resources can actually be dispatched locally consistent with the reliability needs of the grid. So we're really looking forward to working constructively with utilities, certainly here in California, but as we expand our footprint, we've been finding ways to make demand response resources biddable in the capacity tests for EIM, et cetera. So others outside of California will also have similar needs. So we just want to be a really good partner on the distribution side. The second area, of course, really gets right to the heart and soul of resource adequacy and sufficient infrastructure, right? Two areas that we play very important roles as well. And so the second goal reads, strengthen resource adequacy and meet California's SB 100 goals through long-term transmission planning and effective coordination with state agencies. The first, of course, is you heard yesterday, Rob's panel with Neil and the team, stepping back, doing the long-term coordinated transmission planning, right? The Outlook was really our first offering in that area, but we're really committed to working really closely with the state regulatory agencies, the policymakers, to make sure that we're really capturing the policy preferences of the utilities and modeling them up into a long-term transmission look and making sure that that's as useful as possible, and then having it guide subsequent layers of transmission planning. We're also very focused on making sure that the gearing, we talk about reimagine grid interconnection, prioritization, and coordination processes. We need to make sure that the long-term power and transmission resource planning is better integrated, that it syncs up better with procurement, it syncs up better with the IRP process, and ultimately the queuing, right? And we're moving towards trying to have transmission planning and transmission decision-making being much more of a leading rather than reactive indicator, and shaping queuing rather than reacting queuing. It's going to take a few years to get there, but we're really focused on that. We've had great partnership with the states to try to sync those things up better. So that reimagination and that resynchronization is really important. We're also doing a lot of internal work, and we talked yesterday about RAP and California RA. How are these things going to work together as a tariff administrator, as a sufficiency test administrator? So we're talking about sharpening the ISO's resource adequacy strategy and clarifying priorities for engagement in state-level resource adequacy dockets, right? We want to make sure we're really clear about the division of labor between what we cover in our tariff versus what's covered at the state level. And then we want to pick out what are the areas that we think are really, really important to get right and try to be effective partners and advocates for good RA policy and good RA harmonization. So that's a key part of it. And certainly transmission infrastructure, good transmission planning, synchronization, coordination, and then, of course, being really a good agent for constructive innovation and change in RA policy. The third area, of course, we spent a lot of time talking about this yesterday, but it goes right to the heart of the markets. It's build on the foundation of the Western energy imbalance market to further expand Western market opportunities, right? We're just fundamental believers that EIM has just demonstrated the value proposition of optimizing transmission connectivity and resource diversity across that wide footprint. And we just really are motivated to try to keep that wonderful group of partners working together. The next step really being into the day ahead market So 3A reads, extend the ISO day-ahead market to participants across the West and pursue additional opportunities for regional coordination. We know we're on this evolutionary path, but we want to build on that platform and that footprint with that group of partners and keep building it out. We're also working to try to, just more specifically to our just market design, we want to try to effectively prioritize and sequence our market design enhancements a little bit more logically and maybe without quite so much going on at the exact same time, right? I know it's a big load. We have a lot happening. I think we're in a big push right now. I think when we get these next core elements, we kind of want to take a breath and then figure out what are our biggest priorities. I think, we've been thinking hard about our market design function. We just hired a fabulous new addition to our team, Becky Robinson, comes in as our principal economist. Really excited to work with Becky, beefing up and just really being very thoughtful around the design of our market and doing it at a pace that's sustainable, not only for us, but for all of you. And then continuing to enable new technologies through efficient market rules and interfaces, right? Whether it's our Order 2222 tariff or other elements of our design, we want to be an enabler of a really diverse, rich portfolio of different resources to meet all of our goals so we don't have hyper-dependencies on any one sector. The fourth area is, this last couple of days has really been for Joanne as our Vice President of Customer Experience Stakeholder Affairs, kind of our first opportunity to kind of really bring all of you together, but to reemphasize just how much we really value our working relationships. And so we have a vertical here about providing highly responsive and inclusive stakeholder engagement in customer service. And so this has a few elements: foster broad stakeholder trust through transparency, collaboration, and mutually beneficial solutions, right? That transparency and that trust are so important. I think our heat wave report that we put out, hopefully many of you will get a chance. We're trying to kind of really just take it on, right? And there's no secrets. Let's get best information we possibly can on the table, harness the good outcomes, learn from the lessons, and bring them back into operations, right? And we also want to try to provide highly accurate and easily accessible, clear information to enable customer preparedness and to deepen understanding about the reliability needs of the grid. One thing I think was kind of cool, during the heat wave, I think we had millions of people on the CAISO website watching the operation of the California grid in real time, right? And with our capacity graphs, and we've now put some new tools out there so you can watch how the batteries are being operated. We just want you to have a view in, and we want to make sure that we can provide good data access. We have some work to do there. We're going to hire a couple people for our website this year and keep beefing that up. But that access to information, then just in generally ensuring rigorous information-driven decision making. I think we have such a wide group of stakeholders at the ISO that we have to make tough decisions sometimes, or our board has to make tough decisions sometimes, and we want to make sure that we're providing the best information based off good analytics so that they can make good decisions. And then finally, maintain customer confidence through continued disciplined cost management and strategic investments. The ISO, I will tell you, when I came to the ISO a couple years ago, I was deeply grateful for how well the organization had been managed fiscally for many years, right? I've been able to maintain stable rates for a long time. But we're also wanting to make strategic investments. We're finalizing our budget proposal right now, going to be proposed to hire as many as 50 people next year to really scale the business and to meet some of the areas where we know there's been some stress in the system. So we're going to try to do that. I think we're going to be able to do that with some financial flexibility without big rate consequences, but we also want to invest in the organization to scale it out. So that's an important part. And then finally, all of you that manage organizations, you can probably start first with your people, right? Because we know we don't get anything done without great people, but we want to be able to create a flexible and adaptive work environment that retains and attracts a highly skilled and engaged workforce. And this is so important. I just feel so honored, to just work with so many great people, at the ISO and all of our partners, and we're blessed. We've like everybody, we've struggled. We've gone to a pretty radical construct. We've given our employees choice, how they can work remote. We've got people on hybrid. We've got, of course, our control center folks are in the building, but we've extended that choice. But at the same time, we need to be able to foster an equitable and inclusive workplace that models excellence in the ISO's cultural values, and we need to be able to continue cultivating strong leadership and technical competencies. I know we're all dealing with versions of this challenge right now. How do you do that? How do you continue to build culture? this last couple of days has been wonderful to, time together, so we're going to also try to find ways to do that. But I wanted to just end, I'm also just a big believer in the importance of culture and organization. And, when I came in, we were in the process of refreshing our cultural values. And we've landed on a set of cultural values around integrity and accountability and service and humility and resilience. And those really resonate with me. And I think, if you think of them as a group, it's so important for us in a role like this to be able to come to the table and facilitate win-win solutions with a lot of respect for different perspectives, and to do that with some humility and a sense of service and accountability and integrity. And I wanted to take this moment because the next person I'm bringing up here on the stage, Mark Rothleader, who I want Mark to come on out, just a fabulous partner for me, a great guy, and I just wanted to turn the floor to him. Mark, great seeing you, bud. Thank you. Thank you all. Good.